My neighbor stole 3 feet of my yard, so I took him to court and won $10,000. Full story. My neighbor moved his fence 3 feet into my yard while I was on a work trip. He thought I would argue with him about it. Instead, I waited for him to refuse to fix it. Follow us for full stories posted daily. We're serving fresh tea all day. Back to the story. Hello, Tea Talk. My name is Rachel, and Kevin next door ended up paying a very expensive lesson about property lines. I bought my house 4 years ago. The thing I loved most about it was the backyard. Not because it was huge, because I built it. Raised garden beds, a stone walkway, fruit trees along the property line. It took me an entire summer to build that garden, which means I know exactly where every inch of it sits. So when I came home from a 5-day work trip and walked into my backyard, I knew immediately something was wrong. The fence had moved. Not slightly, obviously. The stone walkway I built used to run along the fence line. Now the fence was sitting directly on top of the walkway. 3 feet of my yard had disappeared, and in its place was a brand new cedar fence. Fresh wood, fresh posts, installed while I was gone, and Kevin was standing in his yard admiring it. I walked over and asked the obvious question. "Kevin, did you move the fence?" He smiled. "Nope, just replaced the old one." Replaced, not moved. I pointed to the garden bed. "That fence used to be 3 feet back." He shrugged. "My contractors measured it." Contractors, not surveyors. And that's when I realized something important. Kevin knew exactly what he had done. He was trying to bluff me into accepting it. He thought if he acted confident enough, I would doubt myself. So I played along. I said, "Well, if you measured it." He nodded like the conversation was over. What Kevin didn't know was that I still had the property survey from when I bought the house. And according to that survey, his fence was sitting directly on my property. But I didn't confront him again, because I wanted Kevin to make the next mistake. 2 weeks later, a professional survey crew showed up. Tripods, bright orange flags, laser equipment. Kevin came outside immediately. "What's all this?" I smiled. "Just verifying the property line." He watched the entire process, confident at first, then quieter. Because the flags kept landing in places he didn't expect. The final marker landed 3 feet inside his fence, exactly where my property line actually was. The surveyor handed me the official report and said very clearly, "The fence is installed inside your property." Kevin heard every word, and that's when I gave him a simple option. "Move the fence back." Kevin refused, exactly like I hoped he would. When the survey crew left, I walked Kevin through the damage. His fence had destroyed part of my stone walkway, several garden plants, sections of grass and landscaping, and the edge of a raised garden bed I had built by hand. I showed him everything. I even explained the cost to repair it. Kevin shrugged. "Well, the fence is already built." Already built. Like that solved the problem. Then he said the sentence that made this entire story possible. "If you don't like it, take me to court." So I did, and Kevin had no idea how expensive that decision was about to be. The case was simple. I had the original property survey, the new professional survey, photos of the fence installation, photos of the property damage, receipts for materials used to build the garden and walkway. Kevin showed up to court with nothing but his contractor's verbal claim, which didn't matter, because legally contractors don't determine property boundaries. Surveyors do. The judge reviewed the evidence for about 10 minutes. Then he asked Kevin one question. "Why did you install a fence without confirming the property line?" Kevin didn't have an answer. The ruling came immediately. Kevin was ordered to remove the fence from my property, repair the land, and pay me damages for everything he destroyed. $10,000. But Kevin wasn't done paying yet. Our neighborhood has a homeowners association, and the survey triggered an automatic review, because Kevin had submitted fence plans claiming the structure was within his property, which it wasn't. At the next HOA meeting, the board reviewed the survey and court ruling in front of several neighbors. The board president said something I will never forget. "This appears to be intentional property encroachment." Intentional. Kevin tried to argue, but the evidence was already public. The HOA fined him $5,000 for violating property boundaries and damaging adjacent landscaping. $5,000, and the entire neighborhood heard it. Then came the fence removal. 3 weeks later, the same crew that installed Kevin's fence came back, except this time they weren't building it. They were tearing it down, piece by piece. then rebuilding it exactly 3 feet back, where it should have been in the first place. Neighbors watched. People walked their dogs slowly past the yard, and Kevin didn't make eye contact with anyone. Not me, not the crew, not the neighbors. Kevin paid $10,000 in damages, $5,000 in HOA fines, and the cost of rebuilding his fence, all because he thought I wouldn't notice 3 missing feet of my yard. Now we don't talk. We barely acknowledge each other. But the fence line? It's exactly where it belongs. So tell me, T-Talk, if your neighbor stole 3 feet of your yard, would you argue with him? Or let a judge make him pay $15,000 to fix it?